Greetings comic book fans and welcome to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason and you are watching Comic Haul Weekly, my weekly video where I share with you the brand new comics I picked up this week. So first off, we've got a big stack of books this week. First off, there were 3 books that came out last week that didn't come in. So my comic shop got them in this week and they put them in my order, which is great. My comic shop is brilliant for that, that if there's a week books don't come in, you'll still get them the next week. So first up we have Action Comics, issue number 52, the final issue. This is part 6 of the final days of Superman. The first thing I've noticed only now is that, like, previously this was like Superman Action Comics, and they've like totally knocked off the Superman now. It's just Action Comics. This is the last issue until the book gets rebirthed next month, and it's going to be then, I think it's going to go back to the old numbering. I'm enjoying the final days of Superman story. It's the last issue of this. I felt was the weakest thus far, but this issue, which I read first out of my books, because I've read a few of these, not all of them, but I've read a few. I feel we get back on track, the story, and it definitely feels like the story's pulling together. So yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. We get our Superman from Lois and Clark, who's the Superman from the previous DC continuity. We've got our dying Superman, we've got our solar flare Superman, and the mystery surrounding him, and everything's kind of coming together. So yeah, I enjoyed this one, and you know, the cliffhanger at the end. Yeah, it ended, and I wanted to see what happened next, which I think is always the aim you should have. Next up, also from last week, we have Jupiter's Circle, Volume 2, issue number 6, final issue also of this book, and this book ends really strong. I'm looking forward now to reading Jupiter's Legacy to see if we see any of the aftermath from this, because it leaves it a bit open. So I don't know if they're going to go back and do another mini kind of following up on this, or if a lot of like the bits of this were answered in it. But yeah, I enjoyed this. It was heartbreaking in parts, but also I really liked how it ended. We get this final scene with the different characters, and it actually has the character names. So you got Brainwave, Blue Bolt, the Flare, Dr. Jack Hobbs, the Teen Scene, Sky Fox, the Utopian, and Lady Liberty. So like it goes around all the characters at the end, and I wish we'd have had something like that sooner, because a lot of these characters they haven't mentioned by name, by their superhero names. So that would have been cool. But I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. Good way to end it. We then have Ninjak, which I've not read yet, issue number 15. The second part of Siege of King's Castle, the current story arc. Really good first issue to this, as Ninjak has been, you know, his house has been destroyed. He's lost all of his weapons and his resources. His money's gone. Even like the security branch of the government that he works for are now hunting him and trying to take him out. And he doesn't know who's done this to him, and so he's trying to track down who's done and what's going on here. Really good. It has a real kind of spy vibe to it as well, because with him having to be like really undercover because everybody's looking for him. I really enjoyed the first part of this. It was really good, so I'm super excited to get into the next part. So now onto this week's books. First up we have 2000 AD, issue 1981 or 1981, whichever way you prefer. I'm still really enjoying this. For me, in the past, the thing with 2000 AD is you have like each issue you have 5 strips, and at the moment the 5 strips I'm enjoying probably 4 of them. There's one I'm maybe not feeling, but it's not kind of where I hate it, but it's just it's not doing nothing for me. The other 4 I'm really enjoying, and this is the kind of thing with it, is like at some point in the future we're going to get to a point where maybe that's reversed, and there'll be 4 strips I'm not enjoying and 1 that I'm really liking. And I think that in the past that's what made me drop the book, but as of right now I'm really enjoying it. It's a different style of writing. Each issue should only have 6 pages to tell a story, to advance the story, to recap you, and to then end on a cliffhanger to bring you back. So it's a faster, different style of writing that's used here. You've got different stories, different kind of stories, not just all science fiction. There's the one story that's set like in the Roman times, so it's like not all just science fiction. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this at the moment, but I am aware in the future I don't know, but right here right now I'm enjoying it. The other book I got this week, Judge Dredd magazine, came out, and I had the luck to get this. Usually I have to wait to payday, but this month I was able to get it. This is more money than usual. It's £5.80, which I think, I did check this, I'm trying to remember because I did check this on Google. I think it's $8.45 that it works out as. So like you can see, it is a pretty expensive book, but it's got a lot of pages. I don't know how many pages it's got because they don't have like, well, it's so I think that, yeah, the last page, so 63 pages you've got in here, so it's kind of like double the length. We then have, like, there's about 4 or 5 comic strips in here, and they run for longer than the Judge Dredd one. We've got a new one here called Blunt. Each issue as well, I think you get 2 Judge Dredd stories in here. Then this is the other story that they're doing. This one called Realm of the Damned. So that's good. But as well as like having stories in here, which have a lot more pages than in the regular book in 2000 AD, you also have, like, this issue's got this interview with James Robertson, which looks interesting. And then we have our Judge Dredd story as well. No, this issue we've only got 1 Judge Dredd story. We've got 4 stories, 1 Judge Dredd, Realm of the Damned, Blunt, and then Lawless, which is the one at the back, which interestingly is a black and white story. So yeah, I really enjoy this. I know it's a bit more, but you get a lot of pages, and not only do you get this 63 comic / magazine, you also get this with it as well, which is like a little comic. And what they do is they reprint stories from 2000 AD in here and collect it together. You never get like any of the big characters or big stories because they're already available in trades. But some of the lesser stuff that hasn't maybe been collected, you get in here. So this issue we've got this one called Second City Blues, which I have no idea. But looking from the pictures inside, it looks like it's kind of some kind of future sports story. So that should be interesting. But it's nice because, like, somebody like me, I get to read these older stories that are collected together, and even if you bought 2000 AD, you maybe get a favourite story that's collected together. So all the way around, it's a winner. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So moving on now to the rest of the books this week, we have Superman American Alien issue number 7. This is the final issue, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to end up. I've really enjoyed what Max Landis has done with this series. It's been a very enjoyable series, and I've enjoyed it much more than I thought. Max Landis, I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, it's worked out really well. And yeah, I don't know if this would work as an ongoing. I was going to say I wouldn't mind seeing it as an ongoing, but I don't know if it would work, because like, he's had a definitive story here, and it's about Superman growing up and kind of finding his role in the world, finding his place, and it's kind of that coming of age story that has been done so many times, but it kind of really is appropriate with Superman, because as a child, as a teenager, you kind of want to fit in and you want to find your place in the world, but you feel like an alien, and Superman naturally is an alien. He's from another planet, but he doesn't know his heritage, he doesn't know about where he's come from, he doesn't even know the name of the place he's come from, but he just knows he's not of this world, and yet he's trying to find his place in it. And I just really think they made him the most, Max Landis does a great job of making him the most I've ever kind of been. You can relate to Superman, and you can kind of relate to what he's going through. And I think so many times you'll see writers kind of, to try and make Superman interesting or be able to make it relatable, have to take his powers away. And Max Landis has shown, no, you don't. There are other ways you can make this character relatable without having to depower him. So I've really enjoyed this, and looking forward to see how it's going to finish up. We then have Superman Wonder Woman issue number 29. This is also the final issue with this. As part 7 of the Final Days of Superman. Again, the story's moving on. We get Supergirl coming back into the story this issue, and everything seems to be converging and building to like a point. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, this was really good. It left me wanting more, which I think is what you always want. And I'm excited for next week's issue that will conclude this storyline. We then have from Image, we have Black Road issue number 2. This book may be on the chopping block. At the moment, I really enjoy my comics, but it's beginning to get a bit unmanageable. I'm getting so many, and it's just reading them each week. It gets a bit of a slog some weeks, particularly weeks like this where I've got Amazon Massive Haul, and I've got a big haul again next week. And I love my comics, I enjoy my comics, and I don't want to get to a phase where it becomes I don't want to get to a point where it becomes a chore to read my comics, and I feel that I'm getting there if I keep buying as many as I'm buying. So I'm trying to cut back a bit so that there's other things I want to read, you know. I'm currently reading my way through A Saga of Fire, Ice and Fire. I'm on the third book, you know, the Game of Thrones books. I'm on the third book, and I'm really enjoying that. And there's other books that I've got that I want to read. There's graphic novels I want to get through and read. I want to use my Marvel Unlimited app a lot more to kind of read books and runs on books. And I'd also like the time to occasionally kind of pick out a favourite run from a book and kind of read it. Which I'm not able to do that right now because I'm buying so many weekly books, so many monthly books every week. It's difficult to get through anything else. So I am looking to kind of cut my pull list a bit, just so that it's kind of more manageable and I can fit other stuff in. Black Road, I like the idea of the book. I really like Vikings. Last issue, I don't think did enough to hook me. I'm hoping the second issue is. But if it doesn't, this book will be on the dropped pile. So next up we have an all new Wolverine, issue number 8. I've read this. Kicks off a brand new story called The Box. S.H.I.E.L.D. call Wolverine in to help them with a problem that they've got. I'm really enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying seeing Laura as Wolverine. Totally have accepted her as Wolverine. I hope she's Wolverine for a long time because she's brilliant as Wolverine. And it's funny how like some characters could come in and take over a mantle, like the mantle of Wolverine, and you totally accept him, and then somebody else comes in and takes a mantle and you just don't. It's funny how that works. But I'm loving this book, and this was another really great issue. I love the cast in it, everything about it. It's great stuff. We then got The Astonishing Ant-Man, issue number 8. This is another book I'm considering dropping. When I read it, it's a fun book. I enjoy it. I don't know how much this Ant-Man has always been like this, or because he seems very much in tone with the movie. So I don't know if Scott Lang has always been like this, or if they've changed him to kind of fit in with it. But I enjoy the book. I enjoy Nick Spencer's writing. But from the first issue of this new series, we have had Ant-Man in prison, and we're kind of filling in the story as how he ended up in prison. And we're in issue 8, we're in the second arc, and we still don't know. We still haven't caught up with the present day. We're still filling in the quest of how he ended up there. And I'm just kind of getting a bit impatient because I want the story to move on. We know he's in prison, so I want to now see the effects of that. How is it affecting his relationship with the family? How is it affecting his status as a superhero? And all these other kind of consequences I want to see, but we do seem nearer, but it seems to be taking ages to actually get to the destination. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, this is one of those books I enjoy when I read, but I don't look forward to. But I do enjoy reading it. So maybe this is one that would be better enjoyed on Marvel Unlimited. I don't know. So this is one I'm definitely looking at maybe dropping. We then got Civil War 2, issue 0. Bloody love this. I've read this already. This is the third book I read. Really enjoyed this. It's everything I want from a 0 issue, as it really puts the players in place and sets up the story for the series to kick off from. So yeah, great stuff. Really enjoyed it. And then we have Deadpool, The Mercs for Money, issue number 4. This has been the weakest Deadpool book. Not that the story's bad, it's just that I feel each issue kind of pads the story out a lot, that there isn't enough happening, so they have to pad it out, and it feels padded out, and so it feels like really not much there. So I'm hoping this issue, we're going to get the turnaround now, and this is going to get good. More Deadpool. You can never get enough Deadpool in 1 week. Last Days of Magic, number 1. We had a Doctor Strange book a few weeks ago that was a tie-in book to what's going on in Doctor Strange. So this is a Deadpool tie-in. The thing that does give me hope is it's written by Jerry Duggan, who writes the ongoing Deadpool book. So that's always a good thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Deadpool's going to be involved in this whole Last Days of Magic, because he isn't a kind of a magical character. So even though he's got history with Doctor Strange, it's going to be interesting to see how Deadpool's going to fit into this. So I'm looking forward to that one. We have International Iron Man, issue number 3. I didn't feel last issue was as strong as the first one, so I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with this. I do like that this book is very different from the other Iron Man book, because I've always said I don't mind having multiple books on a character, but they should be different from each other. And where Invincible Iron Man deals with like what's going on with him in the modern day, this is him kind of looking back and kind of things tying into his youth, years of his youth. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. Looking forward to getting back into that. We have Old Man Logan issue number 6, one of my favourite books right now. Sorrentino and Lemire make a great team. Love how Lemire's writing this character. The art is just totally unique and special, and just all round great book. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that. I like the cliffhanger, the twist at the end of last issue, so I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. Power Man and Iron Fist issue number 4 has been a lot of fun. The Iron Fist in here is very different from how he was in his own series last year. But even so, I'm still really enjoying this. I like how Luke and Iron Fist interact with each other. I like how Iron Fist and Luke's wife interact with each other, Jessica Jones. I like that. That's really funny. But whole book has just been really fun. But yeah, it's just been a hoot. Really enjoying that one. We then have Silver Surfer, also issue number 4. And yeah, this has been good. I like, I've never read Silver Surfer before. I like how Dan Slott is writing him and the book. From the cover you can see that Mike Holt is going to get to draw some of the superheroes of the Marvel Universe, which is going to be brilliant because I love Holt's art. And a lot of times Surfer doesn't really interact because he's in space, so he doesn't interact with regular characters we know, so it's really cool seeing it that Mike Holt is going to get to draw these characters. That's going to be good. Last issue things didn't look too good for old Silver Surfer, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to resolve that and turn that around. We then have Squadron Supreme issue number 7. This is a book that I think is way under the radar because it's been a really good book. And last issue was just fantastic by Robertson, as each member of the team kind of had their own thing going on. So I really enjoyed seeing that. From the cover you can see we've got 2 Nighthawks, so I'm looking forward to see what's going on there. But yeah, just the whole book's been has been really good. I'm loving where Robertson's taking them, and these heroes who are from these different Earths and have a kind of a more of a Punisher kind of attitude of that we're going to take out the criminals and the villains, and kind of how that's kind of not gelling with the rest of the heroes in the Marvel Universe. But yeah, I've enjoyed this so far, and I think it is an underrated book. We have Uncanny Avengers issue number 9 next up, which another book I'm really enjoying. I really love the team, as we kind of have all the different corners of the Marvel Universe kind of covered here, which is really good. I'm looking forward. This is a brand new story, so it's a jumping on point. I'm looking forward to seeing if Captain America's in this, because he's been kind of old, and that means he's been more of a kind of advisory role. But now that he's got his youth back, I'm wondering if he's going to be more out on the field with the team, how Rogue, who has been the leader, how Cable, who's come in, and he's used to kind of been in charge, how they're going to gel with Captain America, been on the team and been on missions with them. So that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this story is about. It's called The Man Who Fell to Earth, which I always think about David Bowie when I hear that kind of title. But it's going to be interesting to see what this story is about, and I've been enjoying that book. We have from Valiant now, we have Rai issue number 13, which is a tie-in to 4001 AD. It's the first issue of Rai not drawn by Clayton Crane, which I'm a bit nervous about because he has such a unique style and has developed such a unique look to this future. But we will see what he's got here. We'll see what this other artist got. It's got the same writer, so hopefully it'll be in the same tone. I don't know, because the cover, it's got like what looks like a young Rai, so I don't know if this is a new one that Father is building, or if this is going to kind of go back into Rai's past and how he was created by Father. But either way, I'm looking forward to finding out, because Valiant are doing some great stuff at the moment. I'm a big fan of the Valiant books, but they are doing a lot of really good books, and they're definitely going with the approach of quality over quantity. Marvel and DC, they go the other route. They have just so many books, but they have the big market share because they've got so many books. So it's like, what do? Do you sacrifice quality to get quantity out there and to get a big market share, or do you become a company that's known for having quality books but maybe not as many to collect each month? Personally, that was one of the kind of selling points for me with jumping onto Valiant, because it was so much more attainable to read all their books. Even Image now, their books are growing, and it's great to see Image getting a bigger market share, but things like Image #1 aren't the event they once were, because we're getting so many now, and they're bringing out so many books, and it just doesn't seem to me, and maybe it's because I'm not reading the books, and I'd think differently if I was, but it just doesn't seem to be as many quality books coming from Image right now as there were even a year ago. But like I say, I could be wrong. Maybe next month a bunch of books will come out and I'll be like totally turned around, but certainly a lot of the Image books I was buying and was enjoying are kind of finished or gone. And you've got books that have replaced them that don't seem to be the same kind of quality, which is a shame, because that was one of the things as well. Image, they were really the house of ideas. They did different kind of books, and and that was great. And the #1s coming out was an event, because they were bringing out so many quality books. I personally, I don't like that they've lost maybe that kind of thing over we're getting more books, so we've got a bigger market share, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to become dollars, and even if it doesn't make sense, they're looking at making the dollars. So let's look at X-O Manowar next up. Annual issue #1 for 2016, 64 pages, a big book to read. Has stories written by different writers in this, but it's all kind of one story, but you've got different writers and artists on each story, so that looks interesting. I liked the old school kind of annuals that were kind of these stories that kind of weren't related to what's going on in the issues. So I'm hoping it's something like that, because I miss those kind of annuals that had kind of these different stories in a kind of a one and done kind of story that was separate from the ongoing comic. So I'm hoping that that's what you're going to get, because that's the kind of annuals I like. So next up we have Eternal Warrior issue #7. This kicks off the Labyrinth story, which I'm super pumped to see what happens. Gilad is one of my favourite characters, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have in store for him next. We have Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Adventures, Year 2, issue #9. God, could you get a longer title? This has been the weakest of the Doctor Who comics. I'm hoping that... I say weakest, I think the part of the weakness is that it's been inconsistent. And I think we've got too big a cast of characters, and I think the story's becoming a bit convoluted because so much is going on. Rather than sticking to, this is the story, this is what we need to do. It's kind of, we've got these side stories getting away from the main story, and then they're trying to pull us back, and it's been very, quality wise, very inconsistent. Last issue was probably the worst yet. I'm hoping this is going to get back on track this issue, because I enjoy my Doctor Who books and I don't want them to be bad. And finally, the last book, this is a book I went back for. Sleepy Vito was talking about this one on Twitter, and he said he thought I'd like it, that it was a fun book. So I went to pick it up. So yeah, here we have Future Quest #1. It's got the wraparound cover I got, and I must confess, Sleepy Reader was right. It is a fun book, and I super enjoyed it. It very much is setting up things for future issues, but I enjoyed it. I don't know all the characters, but it has an old school kind of feel. I think they got the right writer in Jeff Parker to write it, because he does have kind of like a fun feel. But most of the art is kind of this style. But what I did like, I'm trying to find the page now. We have these two pages where we have the villains, and the colour scheme totally changes, and I really like that. That like when we got the villains, it totally changes, and then when we go back to the heroes, it changes back to the original colouring. And I love, this is probably my favourite page here with Birdman taken to the air, which I really loved. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking at dropping Black Road and possibly adding this one to my pull in its place. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Look forward to reviewing it. So that's me done for another week. Sorry about the length. Big week this week, so I was twitching around for a bit. I will be back hopefully beginning of next week with a review video. And then my whole video next week may be late. I'm doing an extra day next week. I'm doing a Saturday. So that's kind of going to inhibit the day that I usually do my video. Hopefully I'll get time one evening to do it. This usually is my shortest video. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to happen, but if not, I might not get my video up till Sunday. So the coming all weekly may be late next week, just to give you a heads up. So yeah, that's me done for another week. Thank you very much for watching, and give me those thumbs up if you enjoyed my video. As I've said, I will be back next week with a review video and a haul video. All that leads me to say is that I've been Jason, this has been the Dude Cave, and you've been watching Comic Haul Weekly. Keep reading, and bye for now.